a vacation. So liberation is no better than a vacation, because in case of a liberation, a person is simply taking off from the heat, or one is saturated from sense gratification, or one is frustrated from sense gratification. One wants to take off time. That's all liberation is all about. So liberation is more like a vacation. Like in the modern day corporate setting, people have this notion that we work hard, we play harder. So so 5.5 months they will work hard, like asses foaming in the mouth, and then 15 days will go out for a vacation. And so that vacation only adds in to bring one back to the state of working hard. That's all. So in this way we can see that this combination of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation is a perfect combination to keep one entangled for eternity. Well, liberation is not the end. After liberation, one comes back to square one again. आरुह्य कृच्छेन परम पदम ततम पतन्ति याधो यस्मात् आंग्रयः. So one goes to the Brahmajyoti, enjoys the vacation in the ocean of the Brahmajyoti, and then comes back, falls down. When the paying capacity is over, one falls down. For want, Srila Prabhupada explains, for want of activity, the living entity falls down to this material world again. And again starts the cycle of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the Pancham Purushartha is the ultimate goal which one should pursue. And one who is pursuing the Pancham Purushartha, such a person has to reject the dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The principle is that it is a futile attempt to make misery more palatable. The entire purpose of dharma, artha, kama, moksha is to simply make misery more palatable. That's all. But how can misery be made more palatable? How can misery be made relishable? Misery is misery. Misery is misery. The idea of making misery palatable and better is again an impossible idea. Because misery is an intrinsic flavor which pervades the entirety of this material world. It's just like one time, so devotees came up with a special recipe of Karela called as Gud Karela. What is there in Gud Karela? So Karela is very bitter. That's why it's called bitter gourd. It's bitter in taste. But then he said, no, you put gourd in it, jaggery, and you put something sour in it, like lemon or some sour extract in it. And it tastes very good. It tastes khata mitha. And in that way, people can take in Karela also. So we tried it out. So when we were eating, there were so they said, okay, if you, so that way the good is the good and the the lemon taste and then the good, they basically overshadow the bitterness of the good, bitterness of the bitter gourd. So but when we made it and then everyone was taking, we saw that all three tastes were simultaneously present. The bitterness was still there, some sweetness was there, and some lemon sour was there. So one taste does not mar the other taste. The tastes are intrinsically present. Similarly, the misery of this world cannot be overshadowed. That misery is always going to be there. The experience of the pain, the suffering is always going to be there in this material world. Because that is the intrinsic nature of the material world. Can someone take away the bitterness from bitter gourd? We put some injection, some genetic manipulation, can we take away? We cannot. It is intrinsic nature is that it is bitter. So everyone has a characteristic taste. Similarly, this material world has a characteristic flavor. Anxiety, confusion is the characteristic flavor of this material world. So the material world remains as it is. People think they can change the material world. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra Maharani, Sudarshan Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. People think they can change the material world, and that is the biggest mistake of life because our whole life will get wasted. The material world is not going to change, it has its specific flavor. So now it's okay, we cannot change the material world, and what we can do? Is there anything we can do? Yes. We can change ourselves. We can change our consciousness. So changing the material world is a futile idea which can spoil our whole life, life after life. But you see, it's just like vegetables or fruits. Every fruit has its own particular peculiar taste. Now, watermelon is watery, whereas apple is not so watery. Apple is a bit like garden. No, it's a little. So so some fruits are a bit dry. Some fruits are a more succulent. Like chiku. Chiku is a bit dry. No. Chiku is a bit dry. You squeeze chiku, it will get no, you press squeeze chiku, the water will not, juice will not come out of it so easily. It's a bit dry. But watermelon, you a little bit squeeze, water will come out. I mean, juice will come out. Is it not? A little bit press, the juice will come out. It's more succulent. There are these different fruits, and they have each one has its own intrinsic taste. So, what is the choice we have? The choice is which one to eat is our choice. Is it not? Now, if we take a problem statement, no, I will make chiku more succulent, then it won't remain chiku. So that is a futile problem. That's a futile problem. It doesn't make much sense. But what choice we have is that, okay, we understand the flavors of reality in its various dimensions, and we can choose which dimension we want to thrive on. Just like we can choose which fruit to take. So it's our choice. If we are eating apple, choosing apple over a mango, that is our choice. If you are choosing a mango or an apple, it's our choice. And what we choose, the experience of life depends on that. It is as simple as that. So, fabrication, manufacturing, remake, refurbishing, when these terms are applied to life and the material world, they simply enhance and accelerate and increase our misery. That's all. If we just exercise our choice in the first place, that okay, what do I want to taste? That's it. By that way, one can end the misery. So now, material world has a peculiar taste, which is filled with anxiety, which is filled with uh, suffering, confusion, perplexity. But nobody is forcing us to eat it. So material world is like a fruit. It has its peculiar taste. So who is telling us to eat it? Lord Krishna has given us the fruit of the spiritual world also. That we can taste. The Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of love of Godhead. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sugamugad amritam dravyam. Yes. Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhurahu rasika rasakaha. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. So we have the most succulent fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam. Problem is people are not eating it. One may say, okay, the supply also should be there in the metal world. The supply of materialism is too much. Where is the supply of Nigama Kalpatarur Galitam Phalam? But to create the supply chain network, Srila Prabhupada came to recruit distributors of this fruit of Bhagavatam. Now there are millions of distributors. Do we not get this fruit in the railway stations, bus stands, airports, everywhere? What do you get? Then why is the people still miserable? Because they're still eating the rotten fruit of the material world. So chase after material desires is equivalent to eating the material fruit. If we eat the material fruit has its flavor of anxiety, confusion, bewilderment, misery. And if our lives are being filled with anxiety, misery, confusion, we cannot blame God for it. We are only who has told us to eat the fruit of the material world. When Krishna is supplying alternative fruits, that is the point. Krishna is supplying alternative fruits. Krishna is supplying oceanic nectarine, divine, ambrosial fruit of the holy name. कृष्ण नाम कोरिया पान जोड़ाओ भक्ति विनोद प्राण नाम बिना किछु नाही को आर 14 भुवन माझे कृष्ण नाम सुध कोरिया पान जुड़ाओ भक्ति विनोद प्राण. So therefore, the point is that every fruit has its flavor associated with it. We can drink the holy name instead of drinking the material world. The presentations of the material world. We can eat and drink the Bhagavatam, the Nigamakalpataro Galitam Phalam. Yes, there is misery in this world. But who has told us to become miserable by eating that fruit? Isn't that? That's the whole point. So, what we do, therefore, Srila Prabhupada is making the point here that the Sarvadharman Parityajya Sharnagati, the state of Sharnagati can only come about when one gives up this chase after dharma, artha, kama, moksha. One has to understand that I need to give up this mad chase after dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. I need to give up this mad chase. Unless we do that, we will not be able to exercise or practice Sharnagati. So we can see the difference between the spiritual world and mental world. They are completely perverted. They are completely perverted to each other. Another example we can see is grapes. If you take fresh grapes, it's very juicy. It's very nice to eat. They're purple color, green color grapes. They're very nice. In Abhishek, we make garlands of the Lord with those grapes. Very nice. So if you pop in, it's a lot of juice. It's very nice, very nectarine, like that. The same grape, when it was made to rot, and one can make wine out of it. It's the same element. It's the same element. But one drinks fresh grape juice, one will be in very good spirit. One can offer it to the Lord and take it. It's very nice. It's very nourishing. So one doesn't even have to make juice. One can just pop in a few. The juices so much anyways present. Like that. But if one eats fresh, it gives health. It gives such a refreshing feeling. But the same element, one allows it to rot and then drink it and then take it. It is intoxicant. Now the problem is when one partakes of the grape in a rotten way, in this way, then one doesn't remain in a position of sanity also. So it is unhygienic, it is unhealthy, it puts one in intoxication, one goes into the mode of ignorance. Then to come back to the normal state of consciousness again will take a good amount of time. If for one who is drunk, that fellow is gone for 6 hours, 8 hours. Only this fellow will wake up with a hangover, with the head very heavy, like that. So that's all which will happen. So once the intoxication is taken, 6-8 hours, person is gone, finished. No normal processing. That's why once one goes into this cycle of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, how many lifetimes will go, we don't know. One simply realizes, hey, my life is past. Moment of death has come. Now what to do? By the time you decide now what to do, the death is finished. Is it not? The whole life gets passing away. Simply doing the merry-go-round of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That is why one has to give it up totally. And therefore, Mother Kunti is declaring that the Supreme Lord is the property of the impoverished. Those who are materially impoverished. Materially impoverished doesn't mean who are materially poor. But materially impoverished means that one who has given up all hopes from the material energy. One who has understood that this material energy is hopeless. But for a person who makes cherished goals within the material energy, for such a person, it's going to be very difficult. So then the fervor of spiritual life doesn't come about. Mother Kunti Devi is explaining that for one who has been, she describes this material goals or these material aspirations to be like a fever. And she says when one increases this fever of material attachments, then the spiritual fervor will not come about. So therefore it is explained in the Bhagavatam that for a disciple to be able to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, one should be able to control one's mind and senses. Without mind and sense control, no one can follow, no one can be a good disciple. So to be able to follow the instructions of spiritual master, one has to control one's mind and senses. Therefore, the dharma, artha, kama, moksha has to be given up completely. त्रस्तोऽस्म्यहं कृपणवत्सलदुस्साह उग्र संसारचक्रकदनात् grastam pranito. But I have become frustrated and fed up, simply chasing, gazing and chasing after this abominable material energy. Simply being crushed and pulverized by the wheel, the fierce, cruel wheel of time. And now I want to give it up forever and take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Prito pavarga sharanam havase kadanu. Where there is niti, there is priti. And one can just be uplifted by these nectarine waves of Krishna Premamritam. Hare Krishna. Let's stop here for today.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Sadarshan Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hari Bol. Yes, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, thank you very much for making us understand the futility of the dharma approach. But one point I just want to clarify that for dharma, still we need earth, because without earth we can't do, just like we have to offer bhogas. So all the material we buy the earth. So how is it futile? Just you have mentioned.
Yes. So the point is, the Acharyas mention that even as devotees, we have to be very careful about artha. All the Acharyas talk about this, that for the mission of the Lord, one should not worry about artha. The worry for artha will not allow one to remain on the spiritual platform. The worry for artha is like an intoxicant which will take one consciousness down. So, for the mission of the Lord, money is needed. But then the Acharyas is saying that money, whatever is needed, will come on its own accord. On its own accord means without us too much worrying about it. Without us worrying about it. The worry for artha is like intoxication, is like wine or a drug. And once that drug is taken, it won't allow us to have a spiritual or divine consciousness. Was Madhavendra Puri worrying about artha? Was Rupa Goswami worried about artha? They were sitting in Vrindavan. Were they worried about artha? Was Sanatan Goswami worried about artha? They would not care a fig. Sanatana Goswami had thrown that Chintamani in the garbage. That is what is required for. So let the money come on its own accord. That is the point. Let the money come on its own accord. You know? Let the money come on its own accord, because the worry is detrimental for us. The mission of the Lord, did Prabhupada endeavor for money in his life? Where did he endeavor for money? Srila Prabhupada's focus was, now that much focus if Prabhupada was doing to write books, that much if you would have focused on probably cultivating donors, ISKCON would have had the biggest monuments of the world. But that was not Prabhupada's focus. And that's what Srila Prabhupada has taught us also, that one should not be worried so much. We genuinely do our practice and and preach and share Krishna consciousness and help people becoming devotees. And on its own accord, whatever money comes, that is good enough. On its own accord, whatever money comes, that is good enough. So the chase after money or the worry and anxiety after money is not going to. We were hearing from Srila Prabhupada disciples, you see, all over the world, wherever Srila Prabhupada established temples in his lifetime, none of the temples were too much flamboyant. None of the temples were too much flamboyant. Probably, except a few exceptions, maybe Bhaktivedanta Manor or Fisher Mansion. But both of them also came on their own accord. Prabhupada didn't endeavor for that. There were a few more, like Manhattan, there was a building which had come up. It was a 12-storied building, very gorgeous, like that. Later, some devotees sold it, and but then many Prabhupada disciples explained that was not a very good move, because that was a very strategic building in Manhattan, 12-storied building. So, but the whole point is that Prabhupada didn't endeavor much for that. Much of the buildings were simple buildings actually. So Srila Prabhupada made functional units. His more focus was the preaching should go on. Doesn't matter even if it is a simple building. So, but you see how much Prabhupada's main focus was book distribution should go on. How much Prabhupada emphasized on buildings and how much Prabhupada emphasized on book distribution. We can just compare and see. Rather, Prabhupada emphasized on prasadam distribution. Now, we may say prasadam distribution is a drain. Prasadam distribution, if you see superficially, is a drain and pain. It is very painful to make it and cook it. And it involves so much money. And we just feed people and people just take it in, it's finished. So, in one sense, all the money for prasadam distribution, if you put it in building construction, how many big buildings you can construct? At least the building will remain for 100 years. Prasadam is immediately gone. So the person will be grateful only for half an hour, 1 hour. After 6 hours again, we touch him, he'll say again, I am hungry, again give me prasad. So only something which lasts only 4 hours. But Srila Prabhupada did emphasize. There are some Prabhupada disciples who are working for this cause. Like there is one very enthusiastic and vibrant Srila Prabhupada disciple. His name is His Grace Adipurush Prabhu. The Adipurush Prabhu stays in New York. So he has made guest houses because New York, many people come to visit. Because New York has a brand that it is a very happening and important place of the world. So many people just come to visit. So he has made some guest houses, guest rooms and all that. Some 90 guest rooms or so he has. With those guest rooms, he has given job and employment to many devotees. Many devotees are, so they are able to get some earning, and they can run their family, and they are in Krishna conscious service. And that guest house is spiritual. The ambience is spiritual. Books are there. The prasadam is being distributed. And all that. So it's a very nice. And then they are getting all international visitors, and then they are preaching to them also. Some of them become initiated and they take to devotional service also. But the other thing what Prabhu gets is that from his 90 rooms, what guest house what he's running, he makes $10,000. He gets $10,000 profit a month. All that money, $10,000 profit a month he gets. All that money, yeah, Prabhu uses for distributing prasadam to the slum areas and poor areas in America. America has patches of poor people. So near around outskirts of New York, and that is the service which he's doing. And then while distributing prasad, he is also preaching to those people. So it's a very nice service. You see, Srila Prabhupada emphasized on it. Now we may say it is a drain. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. No, in $100,000 in an area like say Connecticut, 6 miles from Yale University, in $100,000 one can get 20-acre land. I mean, I saw it on Zillow. Zillow is a website for land and property. I saw it on Zillow. So Connecticut, 6 miles from Yale, $100,000 one can get 20-acre land. Prabhu is getting $100,000, $120,000 every year. So past 10 years, how much land he could have taken? So you see the point, no? He could have taken 100 acres land and then 200 acres land till now and made a big farm. So the point is, Srila Prabhupada had his emphasis on preaching and not just on, and therefore one should not be obsessed with the idea of finances. If we have less money, we can just purchase a land, and under the tree also the deity can be established. No problem. If we have more money, we can build a tent. If we have a little more money, we can build like our new town kitchen. There are 5 inchy walls and a tin shed on both sides. If a little more than that money comes, then one can make a reinforced concrete structure. Little more comes, one can make a granite temple. Like that. Nothing comes under the tree. Also, the Lord is happy. No problem. And people will come by that also. So the whole point is that let money come on its own accord. We endeavor for preaching. Our focus and anxiety should be that, okay, we maintain our purity and our absorption, and we focus on preaching and making people into devotees. That is the Acharya's focus for us, not the money. Not the money. Things will come. So whatever comes on its own accord, we can channelize it in the service of Krishna. The balance point is that money should never be an anxiety in the mind of a sadhaka. Because that anxiety is like a drug. It will spoil our consciousness. We have to be careful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, we see this one movement is expanding in different locations. So there is so much emphasis on building temple and for fundraising. And devotees are in too much stress to build temple in particularly Odisha and seeing almost all the districts. The temples are coming. So how to say that?
Yeah, so I feel that things should naturally work out. Now if we see the Acharya of temple construction has been Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Gopal Krishna Maharaj had been an overwhelming Acharya for temple construction. If we see in the history of ISKCON. But if you see, how did Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj build the temples? Many of the temples in Delhi are built by the donation of one personality, Vedvyas Prabhu. There are 25 temples in Delhi. Most of them have been built, I mean, many of them, I will not say most, but yes, many of them have been built by the donation from Vedavyas Prabhu, Vedavyas Priya Prabhu. So where did Gopal Krishna Maharaj took it as an overwhelming anxiety himself also, that okay, the temple building should come up very gorgeous. So sometimes we get lost into, I mean, there is always a danger, Prabhu, that one may get lost into this whole money game. Maharaj never did that. Did Maharaj lower down his preaching? Even when the Delhi Parthasarathi East of Kailash temple was not there, how many months Maharaj was spending in Russia? How many months Maharaj was spending in all these places? What is that? Czech Republic and Kazakhstan and Pakistan. No, now what was the point in spending time in Pakistan and Kenya and so many places? So Maharaj never took it as an overwhelming anxiety. Maharaj's preaching was going on very powerfully. So the overwhelming focus was preaching, and then yes, Prabhupada's instruction was to build a temple. But then Maharaj never took it up. No, did Maharaj? Now, if you say Maharaj, no, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, did he engage all his team of brahmacharis, all his battalion of brahmacharis in fundraising, or did he engage all his battalion of brahmacharis in book distribution? Delhi brahmacharis, Maharaj forced them. I mean, forced them means inspired them, and no, in one way, nudged them towards what? Towards fund collection or towards book distribution? It was book distribution, not fund collection. So therefore, Delhi had been number one or number two. Delhi and Mayapur are the only two competitors. I mean, the only two members in the race, almost for so many decades. One comes first, another comes second. Now some other temples are catching up, but still Delhi, Bombay, they are the Delhi and Mayapur are the fierce competition. 14 lakh, 19 lakh books they distribute every year. Bombay is trying to catch up. Bombay is also Juhu. Juhu is Chapati is also very nice, but then Juhu is up in the race, way up in the race. So Juhu is also Gopal Krishna Maharaj's this thing. So you see, the focus is not so much. Even Maharaj did not so much focus about the temple buildings. Yeah. So it was not that. So we have to understand and appreciate this. So if you want to follow temple construction dynamics, we should follow the Acharya of temple construction. What is the point in talking about temple construction without following? No, so either we follow Srila Prabhupada's emphasis, or if we talk about a particular service, we follow one of the dear disciples of Srila Prabhupada who had epitomized it in the highest level. But I did not see Gopal Krishna Maharaj getting overwhelmed by all. His more focus was to protect devotees, and his more focus was everyone should be together. His yeah. So now Devahuti is saying that now KFC, that non-vegetarian company. So that KFC, that non-veg, they wanted to give donation. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj did not take a penny from them. He said no. No, simply I remember Venki's wanted to give donation, KFC wanted to give donation. It was denied. Gopal Krishna Maharaj said no. This is for Pune. This is Pune temple, NVCC. But I also remember Venki's also wanted to give donation. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj was very clear on what is dharma and how much it is to be followed. So the whole point is, see, like this, Guru said, do you serve non-veg in your hotel? He has got a 5-star hotel. Mohan Rupa Prabhu said. And then he said yes. Guru said, for this, you have to go to Narak. Yeah. Yeah. So Devahuti is saying, Krishna Maharaj, one very big donor was there having 5-star hotel. Maharaj asked him, do you serve non-veg in your hotel? He said yes. Maharaj said, for this you have to go to hell. So he directly said. So we see that the focus and emphasis has to be, and somewhere I feel that, you see, the problem is this money na is very intoxicating. So one may lose the balance track, you know. So unfortunately, the temple construction should not become like a fashion. Oh, this temple is built in 200 crores, I will make a temple in 400 crores. Come on, now the same amount of preaching one can do by building a temple of 20 crores also. You know, so one may get distracted from the goal. We have to be very careful when it comes to money. Why do we need a temple of 200, 400 crore? Does it necessarily increase preaching? No. That 400 crore temple is like a blue whale. You know, to manage that whale, no, it'll so will be no, so much of pain. And also, so there is a uh, one has to bring in. One has to be very careful on this ground actually. Otherwise, it should not become a fashion. Okay, minimum slab 100 crore. No, so the stats are goes like this. Okay, here the temple is built 150 crores, here the temple is built 250 crores. Okay, we target 300 crores. This is all. I feel i feel this is like an intoxication. So even in 20 crores, a very powerful temple can come up. And now, what do we need in a temple? We need a big hall to hold preaching programs, is it not? We need a big, kitchen. No? Even for cooking 1 lakh people a day, you don't need that big a kitchen, is it not? You know? So then what do we need much? 20, 30 guest rooms, good enough, is it not? Some visitors are coming or some, uh, they don't need much in a temple actually. So yes, everyone has to be very careful. But this is some ground on which one may get carried away. One needs to be very careful and bring in a lot of guidance and siddhanta in estimating how much is good enough. Oh, we are talking about big temples. His Grace Pyari Mohan Prabhu told us, he has been 45 years temple president of Hartford. Previously, he was temple president of Boston ISKCON also. He had been GBC since many, since decades now. Pyari Mohan Prabhu ji was telling us that in the West, the Western mindset is they don't care for big buildings at all. So they had a small temple in Hartford, which is the capital of Connecticut. So small means it is as small as a 3 BHK. It's like a 3 BHK. It's that small with a hall. It's exactly like a 3 BHK, 4 BHK. Not flat but a bungalow. 4 BHK bungalow. So that much was the temple. And Prabhu was telling that over the decades he has been preaching, and the Indians come and then they say, hey, ये भी कोई मंदिर है? Is this a temple at all? ये कोई मंदिर है? तो घर है? And he would say, on the contrary, the Westerners would come and they would feel very nice. They would say, oh, this is so nice, this is so homely, we are all together, we feel like a family and all that. So he was telling that so then they took up then later, recently 2017 or so, they took up they purchased an old church which was, yeah, 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 yeah. No. They purchased it, but one person donated the whole amount. Yeah, the whole amount 1% donated. So it was not that 2 decades he was fundraising for making a temple. No, Prabhu was happy preaching, because like that, and then 1% donated. So they got a church. This church has, this church is basically having 2 halls. The temple hall is big. The temple hall is big. How big? Maybe 3 times our Newtown temple hall. Yeah, maybe 3 to 4 times Newtown Temple Hall. 3 to 4 times. Yeah, 3 to 4 times. And like that, down there is another hall plus kitchen. So because kitchen and all this take some space, so the down hall is a little smaller, maybe 2.5 times our temple, the Newtown Temple Hall. So then he was saying that okay, for Indians now they feel okay, this is somewhat like a temple, you know? But so sometimes so we understood that array for Western preaching, big monumental temples are not needed only. Their mindset is not there only at all, not like that. So many times I believe we need to create a balance. Even when we are in India, we need to create a balance. And one of the benchmark of balance is that okay, one can endeavor for funds, but that should not become an overwhelming anxiety in the mindset. Yeah, no, but it is a very costly location, Chapati. Chapati temple is small, pitching outcome is good, enough. But you see, Mira Road is not in a very hip location. But from Mira Road also they have done a lot of preaching. Mira Road is not neither a posh temple nor it is a posh location. It's a simple temple, but a lot of preaching they have done. Lot of preaching they have done. Lot of preaching they have done. So I remember one of the doctor devotees from I won't name him, but he was telling. We were in Bhaktivedanta hospital. He was telling, and he was telling, "Arey, we are 100 devotees sitting in this Bhaktivedanta hospital, you know, and how much preaching we have done, 10 times more preaching than us. No, this one man, he's sitting in Mirror Road. I mean, he's sitting just opposite the road and he's done, you know. uh, One man, our Bhakti Padma Saurabha Pracharak Maharaj. And so he was saying, so he was telling me, this devotee, he was telling me that direct preaching is so important. So he was telling me we are there in the Bhaktivedanta hospital, such a complex setup, and he's one of the founding doctors. He was not some any, so he was telling, I mean, yes, Bhaktivedanta hospital itself is doing very tangible preaching and service, but then he was making this point that this one man, he has been directly preaching and he's made so many devotees and he's made much more congregation, brahmacharis and all that. And their setup is simple, you know. So preaching doesn't necessitate flamboyant buildings. Uh, yeah, so sometimes I feel that yes, there is a tendency. So what I have understood hearing from Srila Prabhupada disciples, what I'm quoting is all from Srila Prabhupada disciples. Uh, what I have understood is that one has to be very careful. There is a tendency that we may get drifted by or carried away by this money game. Let me build a 200 crore temple. A 200 crore temple doesn't, or a 400 crore temple doesn't necessarily guarantee a higher preaching. So, and I believe the balance point is that one's consciousness should not at all be worried about money. One's consciousness should be soaked in Bhagavatam and preaching. And then by doing that, whatever money comes of its own accord, if by doing that 1,000 crore comes, no problem. But even if by doing that and on its own accord 1,000 crore come, then also one should think, I want to put 1,000 crore in my own temple, or maybe I can donate that money to 10 temples. And 10 places the 10 places the temples can be built. So that is something. What will be better? Yeah. So many of so our focus has to be very clear. Radhesham would always speak about, and many temples push their brahmacharis to take a suitcase early morning, take breakfast, and push off. And whole day, raising funds. Funds may come and the brahmachari may not remain, in Krishna consciousness, because there is so much of wrong emphasis. We are not a fundraising movement. We are a preaching movement. What is that? Mat chitta mat gata prana bodhayantas parasparam tush katayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This verse is coming in Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. It is one of the essence. I mean, this verse is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. One of the essence of Bhagavad Gita is tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Just be happy, absorbed in sharing and reminiscing the glories of the Supreme Lord. And by doing that, whatever comes on its own accord, whether it is a tent or a tin shed or a reinforced concrete or a stone temple, that's okay, good enough. Hi Bo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hey Bo.